𝐶K2 and a very good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to the weekly guided meditation by Phra Goh. Today is the 28th of November 2023. We are very grateful to have with us Bhante Adhibalo, popular known as Phra Goh, to conduct this weekly session. Bhante was born on July 14, 1985 as was ordained under the Theravada tradition of Thai Dhamma sect at Santi Forest Monastery in Johor in 2008. Bhante is currently the religious advisor to Buddhist Youth Network Singapore. This week we are starting a new subject on Kamma and Magga, Karma and fruits. Just a gentle reminder, today is the last session for 2023. The next Tuesday guided meditation will be starting again on 9th of January 2024. Now, let us compose our minds, put our palm together, and welcome Bhante to lead us in the paying homage to the Buddha. Over to you, Bhante.
Okay, all right. Thank you for the intro, Terence. Okay, so we start off with paying respects to the Buddha by giving 3 bows. First bow, second bow, third bow. Okay, then the homage chant. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. 3 refuges. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dhammang saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Sanghang saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi dhammang saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi sanghang saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi dhammang saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi sanghang saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. And the 5 precepts. Pāṇātipada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Adinādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Kāmesu micchācāra veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Musāvāda veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Surameraya majjapamadatthāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so tonight is this new topic called Kamma and Magga. So Kamma is a type of cause and effect, and Magga means the path, and Magga means like the Arya Magga, right? We talk about noble path. This topic suggested by Sister Eileen. I may not do justice because Kamma is such a very wide topic. So we are just narrowing down to just Kamma and Magga. Magga means the path. So it's got to do with meditation, got to do with practice. And we're not going to cover like know what kind of karma you do will make you rich or make you famous or make you live long and stuff like that. So it's more on the spiritual kind of practice. Right, so it's very specific. Okay, so we start off with the first slide. Yeah, so this one is the Arya Magga Sutta, the noble path. Arya means the noble, Magga means the path. Okay, so I'll just read through and probably comment a bit here and there along the way. So the format for this session, for those who are new, probably it's like first half an hour, it's more like a theory and followed by guided meditation. But because today is the last session, I'll just squeeze all the theory and see how far we can go. Okay, so I just read through. Monks, these 4 types of Kamma have been directly realized, verified and made known by me. Which 4? So number 1, there is Kamma that is dark with dark result. Number 2, there is Kamma that is bright with bright result. Number 3, there is Kamma that is dark and bright with dark and bright results. And number 4, there is Kamma that is neither dark nor bright with neither dark nor bright result, leading to the ending of Kamma. Okay, so this sounds a bit confusing, especially number 3. So we're going to discuss one by one. Yeah, so the Buddha will sort of normally define in detail. First, he starts off with giving the general kind of category, and then followed on by the detailed explanation. So now we move on. The first one was this karma with dark and dark result. There is the case where a certain person fabricates an injurious bodily fabrication, fabricates an injurious verbal fabrication, fabricates an injurious mental fabrication. Okay, so injurious means harmful, or I would say unwholesome. Alright, so it can be from your body, speech, or your mind. Body, speech, or mind. So earlier on we talked about taking the precepts. We chanted the precepts. We'll cover that later. So normally when we talk about like breaking the precepts, we talk about there must be intention first. Yeah, there must be intention first, then it counts as breaking the precept if you, let's say, carry out the act of stealing or killing. But for this case, this one kind of separates an injurious bodily fabrication, and there's a verbal fabrication, and there's also a mental fabrication. So a person may do something physically sort of injurious, but without unwholesome intention. So when a person sort of does something sort of injurious to, let's say, another party, I'm sure there will be some form of unhappiness by the other party, right? So things may happen. Okay, so this is the example. And likewise for verbal fabrication, whatever we say, even though we may not have ill intention, may hurt somebody. All right, may hurt somebody, and then it will come back to us again. Okay, so mental fabrication would be more direct. So this is what we experience in meditation, or even if you don't have to meditate, you can experiment now. If let's say you have thoughts of anger, you create thoughts of anger, you feel the effects here and now, so it's immediate. Right? So there's injurious mental fabrication. But let's say you have thoughts of loving kindness, you wish all beings well and happy, so that is also quite immediate. Right? So you have this pleasant effect here and now. Right? So this is the three different types of fabrications: body, speech, and mind. Okay, so having fabricated an injurious bodily fabrication, injurious verbal fabrication, or having fabricated an injurious mental fabrication, he arises in an injurious world. On re-arising in an injurious world, he is there touched by injurious contacts. Okay, so this re-arising in injurious world can be next lifetime, it can be this lifetime. So the world can be metaphorical, it can be you're creating the world of enmity, you can be creating a world like heaven, so it's all up to you, so up to us to create the kind of world we live in. Okay, touched by injurious contacts, he experiences feelings that are exclusively painful, like those of the beings in hell. This is called karma that is dark with dark result. So again, down here, he used metaphorical example like those of the beings in hell. Right, so it's a metaphor. So whatever painful feelings we receive, it will come back to us as though like in hell. All right, so that's the dark karma with dark result. At any point of time, if you have any like questions or anything you want to ask, feel free to raise your hand. Okay, so we move on to the next slide. Okay, so this one also pretty straightforward. It's the total opposite. What is the karma that is bright with bright result? There's the case where a certain person fabricates a non-injurious bodily fabrication, non-injurious verbal, and non-injurious mental fabrication. So whatever is non is the opposite, right? So basically injurious would be greed, hatred, delusion, for example, and non-injurious would be non-greed, non-hatred, non-delusion. So it can encompass a wide variety of actions or thoughts. Thoughts of generosity, thoughts of loving kindness, acts of charity and stuff like that. Yeah? He arises in a non-injurious world. Yeah, so similarly can be this lifetime metaphorically or really the next lifetime. There he is touched by non-injurious contacts. He experiences feelings that are exclusively pleasant, like those of the beautiful black devas. If I'm not wrong, these beautiful black devas might be from some of the Brahma realms and one of the jhana realms. This is called karma that is bright with bright result. Anyway, this is Ajahn Thanisaro's interpretation, his translation, beautiful black devas. I was comparing with the chart, the 31 realms of existence, cannot find these beautiful black devas. So somewhere close is, I think, beautiful or lustrous or illuminous. They use different terms. Okay, next. Okay, and what is karma that is dark and bright with dark and bright result? So this is more like a mixture. So in short, this is a bit like the first and second, but a combination of the two. And you produce this third kind. There is the case where a certain person fabricates a bodily fabrication that is injurious and non-injurious, a verbal fabrication that is injurious and non-injurious, a mental fabrication that is injurious and non-injurious. He arises in the injurious and non-injurious world. So there's a mixture. There he is touched by injurious and non-injurious contacts. He experiences injurious and non-injurious feelings. Pleasure mingled with pain, like those of human beings, some devas, and some beings in the lower realms. So basically it covers like almost everything. This is called karma that is dark and bright with dark and bright result. So he never mentions specifically hell realm or specifically all the deva realms. So hell realm is like constant torture, even though we talk about feelings as impermanent. I do not know whether they have a break. So likewise for devas, there are some devas is like purely joy or purely happiness or purely equanimity. So you get some of the extreme of the spectrum. Okay, so next. And what is karma that is neither dark nor bright, with neither dark nor bright result, leading to the ending of karma? Okay, so this is like the middle path. Right, so the Noble Eightfold Path is mentioned here: right view, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. So whenever we practice the Dhamma, or when we are contemplating on the Dhamma, we are producing this karma, this neither dark nor bright karma. So we are producing anti-karma. Yeah? This is called karma that is neither dark nor bright, with leading to the ending of karma. These monks are the 4 types of karma, directly realized, verified, and made known by me. Right, so this is the first discourse. Is there anything further? Okay, so this is the next sutta. So this is more like elaboration. Yeah, elaboration on the Noble Eightfold Path is a different sutta. And these Brahmins of Sala are actually asking the Buddha a question. Now, what kind of actions or deeds that one needs to do in order to be reborn in the lower realms like the hell. So the Buddha mentioned this kind of unwholesome kind of conduct. So the Buddha sort of split the Noble Eightfold Path, or basically this right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, into the 10 meritorious and 10 demeritorious deeds. Right, so it's explained down here. The Blessed One said, householders, there are 3 sorts of undhamma conduct: dissonant conduct with the body; 4 sorts of undhamma conduct: dissonant conduct with speech; and 3 sorts of undhamma conduct: dissonant conduct with the mind. So we talked about body, speech, and mind earlier. You produce dark karma with body and speech and mind. So what kind of body, speech, and mind conduct? Right, so the mind have 3, speech have 4, body have 3, so total 10. Okay, so let's go through the details. So what kind of dark karma, this undhamma conduct? Dissonant conduct with the body. So the first one he mentions, there's a case where a certain person takes life, is brutal, bloody-handed, devoted to killing and slaying, showing no mercy to living beings. So this is the precept we chanted, right? To avoid or abstain from killing. So this is the opposite of this unskillful bodily conduct. And the second one, the same thing, he takes what is not given. He takes in the manner of a thief things in a village or wilderness that belong to others and have not been given by them. So this is the act of stealing. And the third one, he engages in sensual misconduct. He gets sexually involved with those who are protected by their mothers, their fathers, their brothers, their sisters, relatives, or their Dhamma. So basically their Dhamma means their law, or their ethics. Those with husbands, those who entail punishments, or even those crowned with flowers by another man. Right, so basically this precept talks about not only a person need to be faithful to one's partner, but also there are other things involved. Like if a person, if let's say they are underage, they're still under the protection of their, their family members, or those who entail punishment. That means he has to do the law of the country. So if the country says cannot do certain age, you cannot have any sexual misconduct, or any age, or some places certain genders, they cannot have these sexual relations, then they try to avoid. Okay, this is how there are 3 sorts of undhamma conduct: dissonant conduct with the body. Alright, so this is the 3 kinds of precepts we have chanted earlier. Next one. Okay, unskillful verbal action. So now we talk about speech. Okay, so what are the 4 sorts of undhamma conduct, dissonant conduct with speech? There's the case where a certain person engages in false speech when he has been called to a town meeting, a group meeting, a gathering of his relatives, his guild, or of the royalty, royal court proceeding, if he is asked as a witness, come and tell, good man, what you know. If he doesn't know, he says, I know. If he does know, he says, I don't know. If he hasn't seen, he says, I have seen. If he has seen, he says, I haven't seen. Thus, he consciously tells lies for his own sake, for the sake of another, or for the sake of a certain reward. Yeah, so this is very interesting. So this talks about the our precept of not lying, not telling lies. We chanted the precept of not telling lies is to overcome this wanting to tell lies. And the last one mentions, consciously tells lies for his own sake, for the sake of another, or for the sake of a certain reward. Yeah. So this is clearly stating that means first you're trying to tell the truth, and some people may tell you, oh, what if it's a white lie? Yeah? You have to look at the intention. You have to not tell it for the sake of yourself or another, or for a certain reward. So if the best you can avoid the white lie, then avoid the white lie. Try not to say anything. Yeah? So we try to use our wisdom to get the way around. Okay, next. Okay, so aside from not telling lies, like I usually tell my or tell those people who take precepts under me, that taking the precept of not telling lies also include these few other things, these three other things. So it's like 4 in 1. Okay, so he engages in divisive speech. What he has heard here, he tells there to break those people apart from these people here. What he has heard there, he tells here to break these people apart from those people there. Thus, breaking apart those who are united and stirring up strife between those who are broken apart. He loves factionalism, delights in factionalism, enjoys factionalism, speaking things that create factionalism. Right, so this one is about divisive speech, breaking up communities. So this one, actually, the Buddha is very pro-harmony, right? Promoting harmony, try not to create division. Okay, he engages in abusive speech. He speaks words that are harsh, cutting, bitter to others, abusive to others, provoking anger, and destroying concentration. Right, so this is on abusive speech. And the 4th one, he engages in idle chatter. He speaks out of season, speaks what isn't factual, what isn't in accordance with the goal, the Dhamma and the Vinaya, words that are not worth treasuring. Okay, this is how there are 4 sorts of undhamma conduct, dissonant conduct with speech. Right, so like mentioned earlier, like I tell my students who take precepts under me, if a person really wants to observe the precept of not telling lies, it is to live in line with the Dhamma. So a person cannot say, I want to avoid telling lies, but I want to speak divisive speech, I want to have abusive speech, and I want to have idle chatter. But a person can commit all these 3, divisive speech, abusive speech, and idle chatter with the truth also. They can tell the truth and deliberately or intentionally, unintentionally do all these 3. Yeah? So the whole idea is train ourselves not to do all these 4 kinds of wrong speech. So a person can tell the truth. No? So they go to one party, they gossip, listen to other people's gossip. Then he gets certain info, which is the truth. Then you go to another group and he tells the truth. Then they break up these communities, right? So that can be, in a way, keeping the truth, but breaking up communities, which is not in line with the essence or not in line with the spirit of living in line with the Dhamma. Right? So when a person take the precept of not telling lies, they should also keep in mind with this divisive speech, not to create divisive speech also. So likewise for abusive speech, they can be saying the truth, but in a very harsh manner, scolding and say things which are abusive. So that is actually not the way. So this is the teachings from the Buddha himself. Right? No, there are sometimes people who do abuse this, normally more like a cult-like setting, and we try to avoid that if we kind of compare the Buddha's teaching. Okay, so then the next one is idle chatter. So same thing, a person can be like speaking factual truths, but it can be idle chatter. So the normal kind of things I will give example is a person can say anything in the encyclopedia to a person. I can tell you very truthful facts. The sun is round, the earth is round, the sky is blue, the grass is green. I can say all these facts, but how does it help you? Imagine our entire conversation is just this. I just bring up facts, 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4. I can just read out the whole multiplication table or the whole periodic table. It's the fact, but no benefit in terms of the Dhamma. Yeah? It doesn't kind of bring you to the point, except for this example. Okay, so this is about idle chatter, right? So if a person wants to observe the precept of not telling lies, then they should also take the entire package, and these 4. Okay, this is how there are 4 sorts of undhamma conduct, dissonant conduct with speech. Okay, next. Unskillful mental action, right? This one is 3 sorts of undhamma conduct, dissonant conduct with the mind. There's a case where a certain person is covetous, that means greedy. He covets the belongings of others, thinking, oh, that what belongs to others would be mine. He bears ill will, corrupt in resolves of his heart. May these beings be killed, or cut apart, or crushed, or destroyed, or may they not exist at all. So there's greed, there's anger. Right? Then the third one. Next slide. He has a wrong view, is warped in the way he sees things. There is nothing given, nothing offered, nothing sacrificed. There is no fruit or result of good or bad actions. There is no this world, no next world, no mother, no father, no spontaneous reborn beings, no contemplatives, or Brahmans who, faring right and practicing rightly, proclaim this world and the next after having directly known and realized it for themselves. So this is not reciting any prajna, paramita kind of sutras. This is actually talking about if a person really think there's no point in doing good, no kind of consequence in their bad deeds, and then this is a kind of delusion. This is how there are 3 sorts of undhamma conduct, dissonant conduct with the mind. So we covered all 10 demeritorious deeds, and we're moving on to the next one. So now we talk about the result. It's by reason of this undhamma conduct and dissonant conduct that some beings here, with the breakup of the body after death, reappear in a plane of deprivation, a bad destination, a lower realm, hell. Okay, so now they're talking about the good one. Householders, there are 3 sorts of Dhamma conduct: harmonious conduct with the body, 4 sorts of Dhamma conduct, harmonious conduct with speech, and 3 sorts of Dhamma conduct, harmonious conduct with the mind. So basically the total opposite of the unwholesome ones. So I'll just quickly skim through. Next slide. Okay, so this is a skillful bodily action, total opposite. There's a case where a certain person, abandoning taking down life, abstains from the taking of life. He dwells with the rod laid down, his knife laid down, scrupulous, merciful, compassionate for the welfare of all beings. So if a person practice not taking life, they will cultivate this compassion. They will cultivate metta and compassion. Abandoning the taking of what is not given, he abstains from taking what is not given. He doesn't take, in the manner of a thief, things in a village or wilderness that belongs to others and have not been given by them. So he becomes less greedy or less selfish. Next. Abandoning sensual misconduct, he abstains from sensual misconduct. He doesn't get sexually involved with those who are protected by their mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, relatives, or their Dhamma. Those with husbands, those who entail punishments, or even those crowned with flowers by another person. This is how there are three sorts of Dhamma conduct, harmonious conduct with the body. Right? So if a person stick to the precepts, do not commit any of these, then you're living in line, in harmony with the Dhamma. So at least in the mind, there's no remorse, no guilt. The mind is at peace. So this is for the body and for the verbal. There are three sorts of... Oh, is it three? I thought it's four. Okay, there are four sorts of conduct harmonious with speech. There's a case of a certain person abandoning false speech, abandoning from false speech, and when it's called a town meeting, right? When so I don't have to read through everything. If he knows, he says he knows. If he don't know, say he doesn't know. So he's doesn't consciously tell a lie for his own sake, for the sake of another, or for the sake of any reward. So this is the precept of telling the truth. Okay, next one. So the next three would be this divisive speech. Abandoning divisive speech, he abstains from divisive speech. He doesn't, what he has heard here, he doesn't tell there to break those people apart. Right, so vice versa. What he heard over there, he doesn't tell the people over here to break the people apart here, thus reconciling those who have broken apart or cementing those who are united. He loves concord, delights in concord, enjoys concord, speaking things that create concord. So he promotes harmony. So the Buddha encouraged this, promoting harmony. And the next one, abandoning abusive speech, he abstains from abusive speech. He speaks words that are soothing, pleasing to the ear, that are affectionate, that go to the heart, that are polite, appealing, and pleasant to people at large. So this is speech with loving kindness. Abandoning idle chatter, he abstains from idle chatter. He speaks in season, speaks what is factual, what is in accordance with the goal, the Dhamma, and the Vinaya. He speaks words worth treasuring, seasonable, reasonable, circumscribed, connected with the goal. Okay, so speaks in season means speak at the right time or the right occasion. If a person practices this, they need to think a lot before they speak. So this one is also training one's wisdom. Training one's wisdom. What to say at the right time. Now, what is really beneficial to the other party. So they need to think before they speak, and it's a win-win situation. So if a person really practices the right speech or follow the precept of not telling lies, then it will improve their wisdom as well. This is how there are four sorts of Dhamma conduct, harmonious conduct with speech. Okay, next slide. And how are there three sorts of Dhamma conduct, harmonious conduct with the mind? There's the case where a certain person is not covetous. He doesn't covet the belongings of others, thinking, oh, that what belongs to others would be mine. So this is thoughts of non-greed. He bears no ill will and is not corrupt in the results of his heart. He thinks, may these beings be free from animosity, free from oppression, free from trouble, and may they look after themselves with ease. So this is thoughts of non-anger. So very specifically, it gives the example of loving kindness. So the practice of metta, the loving kindness, is the total opposite of anger. So if a person practices loving kindness, that's part of right thought. Yeah, part of this overcoming this unskillful mental action. Next. He has right view and is not warped in the way he sees things. There's what is given, what is offered, what is sacrificed. There are fruits and results of good and bad actions. There's the world and the next world. There's mother and father. There's spontaneously reborn beings. There are contemplators and Brahmins who, faring rightly and practicing rightly, proclaim this world and the next after having directly known and realized it for themselves. So basically a person know the benefits of doing good and avoiding unwholesome kind of thought, speech and mind. This is how there are three sorts of Dhamma conduct. Harmonious conduct with the mind. So this covers the 10 meritorious actions, and they talk about the results. It's by reason of this Dhamma conduct and harmonious conduct that some beings here, with the breakup of the body after death, reappear in a good destination in a heavenly world. Householders, if one, a person of Dhamma conduct, harmonious conduct, should wish, oh, if I, with the breakup of the body after death, were to reappear among well-to-do noble warriors, it is possible that one, with the breakup of the body after death, would appear among well-to-do noble warriors. Why is that? Because one is a person of Dhamma conduct, harmonious conduct. Okay, so this part, this is probably the last segment. The Buddha mentioned if a person practices these 10 things very well, at the moment of death they can make an aspiration where to be reborn. So this reminds me of the Tibetan lamas. They can choose where to be reborn. So in this case, we have something, I think is the closest you can find in Theravada kind of Buddhist scripture. So the first segment talks about the class of humans you wish to be reborn, the caste or class. And it talks about if you want to be reborn in well-to-do Brahmans, the last point, or well-to-do householders, you can do so. Right? And the next, this slide. And if you do not want to be human, if you do not want to be human, you want to be a deva. Somehow the Buddha also encouraged, you can do so. Somehow I never find in the Theravada Buddhist teaching that say, the Buddha encouraged people to be reborn as human. It's not really in the Theravada Suttas. Okay, so the Buddha encouraged a person, the religious teacher point the way to heaven. Right, so now the Buddha is mentioning all different heavenly realms. So again, in our current time or culture, sometimes we may not know these so-called heavenly beings. All right, so you can just briefly read through. These are the different classes. It may not make sense to us. We do not know how they look like. So it's just good to know. Just good to know. So there are many realms. So if you look at the table on the right, you can actually find it in Google Images, 31 planes of existence. I know the word is a bit small. If you look at the pyramid shape kind of structure, the bottom will be the lower realms. So it's denoted by the, I think, the orange color, orange or red color at the bottom. So there's just one rectangular, denotes all the lower realms. And if you look up the sort of stairs on the pink color, so there's the human realm onwards. So the lowest of the pink step, that's the human realm. That's the 5th realm out of the 31 realms. And all the way up to the heavenly realms, the highest pink realm. That's the realm where Mara resides, or Mara supposedly resides, highest sensual realm Deva. And above that, the blue color column, that's the Brahma worlds. And the Brahma worlds are called the form worlds. So anything from the pink and below, that's the sensual world, sensual world. And the blue color portion is the form, all the different Brahma worlds. And to the orange portion, all the way to the highest 31 plane. So the orange portion represents the formless plane of existence, the formless devas. So the form and formless devas can be usually achieved by the jhanas. But interestingly, in this particular sutta, if a person practices the 10 meritorious deeds well, they don't have to do jhanas. They just make a wish, and tada, they can appear in the Brahma worlds. And the last slide is very interesting. You turn next slide. Oh, sorry. Okay, not your last slide. This is a zoomed-in version of the realm. So starting from the bottom, you can look at the 4 realms at the bottom, in the hell realms, the animal, the ghosts, and the demons and the asuras. So somehow they classify the asuras as lower than human, even though they have, like, some traditions they place it above humans. So in this case, they're placed lower because of their state of mind, probably in the state of jealousy. So it's kind of lower than humans. So the human realm is in the number 5th one. You can look at the picture of the, I think, a doctor, a baby, and someone, right? So that's the human world, and all the different heavenly realms. You have the 4 heavenly kings above the human. They have the 33 gods, and the Yama, then this, right, the Tusita heaven, and so on. Yeah, so all these are the sensual plane devas, and it is believed that the sensual plane devas, why is it called sensual plane? Like mentioned in the 10 meritorious or demeritorious deeds, that sensual world still can engage in sexual activity. So these sensual devas have like male and female counterparts, and they get involved. They still can reproduce with the male and female. So that is the heavenly world, sensual heavenly worlds. Next slide. Okay, so this one is all the blue column. Yeah, so all these are the Brahma worlds, talking about the jhanas. So all the way from the bottom, the first jhana. So first jhana has 3 realms. Second jhana has another 3 realms. Third jhana, another 3 realms. Fourth jhana has more realms because it includes the pure abodes. And the highest, you look at the orange color, are the 4 formless realms, 4 formless jhanas. So these are the 31 realms of existence. Okay, next slide. Okay, if a person of Dhamma conduct, harmonious conduct, should wish, oh, if I, with the ending of the effluence, were to enter and remain in the effluent free awareness release and discernment release, having directly known and realized them for myself right in the here and now, it is possible that one with the ending of the effluence would enter and remain in the effluent free awareness release and discernment release, having directly known and realized for oneself right in the here and now. Why is that? Because one is a person of Dhamma conduct, harmonious conduct. So this is the final statement of the Buddha. So if a person observe these 10 meritorious deeds, they can also eventually overcome all their effluence. So effluence talk basically is the defilements. They can end their defilements and become like fully enlightened. So what does that mean? So it means these 10 meritorious deeds covers basically the 5 precepts. It never mentioned you have to take your meal after, you cannot take your meal after noontime, or you cannot sleep on high beds, or you cannot have entertainment, perfume, singing and dancing. So it's not mentioned in the 10, right? But you have to talk about the mind. If a person do generate thoughts of greed or anger, then even if, let's say, a person is like watching music or entertainment, there's a great chance of this greed to arise. So if a person observes these 10 very well, theoretically, a person with 5 precepts can also become an arahant. So there are some examples in the Buddha's time. The Buddha's father, for example, King Suddhodana, is a layman, but he became an arahant. Right? Before he died, at his deathbed, the Buddha is like giving him Dhamma talk all the time. And after he got enlightened, 7 days after he got enlightened, then he passed away because his illness got worse. And because of this, the commentators wrote down in the suttas, it is recorded that any lay person who reach enlightenment, the most will live for 7 days. So some people interpret it as, if you get enlightened as a lay person, you must ordain and become a monastic. If you do not ordain and become monastic, you will die within 7 days. So this is how they interpret it. So they do not take the context of the situation, the story where this King Suddhodana was already very ill before receiving this Dhamma teaching by the Buddha. Okay, so don't have to worry, you can practice. If you do not have a chance to ordain, do not worry about this imminent death. But even if a person is enlightened, they won't be having any fear of this imminent death anyway. Okay, next slide. Okay, so that's the end of the sharing. So now we are going to open the floor to Q&A. Any questions from the Zoom? Anyone? Yep.
Why cannot sleep in high place?
Oh yeah, so that is the 8 precepts. So the 8 precepts have 3 more of the precepts on top of the 5. So one of them is not eating meal after noontime, and one of them is also not to sleep on high beds or luxurious seats, and the final one is this: no entertainment, music, dancing, singing, wearing perfumes, jewelry, and so on. So these are the 8 precepts. So but in this 10 meritorious and demeritorious list, they never mention. So I was saying earlier, it is possible for a layperson to reach full enlightenment.
What is
Pardon, you need to repeat your question.
what is the Black Deva?
Very good question. What is the Black Devas? One of the realms in the heavenly realm. So if you want to do a comparison side by side, maybe Terence, you can show the zoomed. Okay, let's go to the previous slide first. Okay, so let's look at the the second pointer, right? So at the last sentence of the second point, you see the beautiful black devas. So you need to remember the 2 realms before and after. Devas of immeasurable beauty, and then the sky fruit devas. Okay, then we look at the blue column. Okay, can you find any sky fruit devas? Okay, so you can look at this, the first realm of the pure abode, very fruitful devas. So that's the realm after the black devas, and beautiful black devas. So, but in this translation, the beautiful black devas become this Subha Kimha, devas of radiant glory. Yeah, so this is the translation of this person, and whereas Ajahn Thanisaro translate as beautiful black devas. Okay, so it's got to do with translation of the words. All right, does that answer your question?
I understand.
Ken?
So which one is the
Okay, if you look at number 21, yeah, very fruitful devas. So that's the sky fruit devas. That is after the beautiful black devas, right? So that would mean the beautiful black devas is number 20. Devas of radiant glory. Can you see?
Yes.
Can I? Okay, right. So this is how I deduce lah. I'm not a Pali scholar. So that's how I deduce.
Another is what? Has a crown with flower with another man. What it means?
Which one?
What it means? I just now have a like crown. I think you ask.
Crown with flowers by another man.
Ah, that means engaged. That means
Okay.
if a person is engaged to another partner, then you shouldn't have any affairs with that person.
Okay. Thank you, Bante.
Okay, no problem. So probably the ancient ritual or their ceremony put flowers, no diamond ring yet. So if you want to follow the Buddhist practice, you can do that if you want. Don't need to buy diamond ring. Use flowers can really. Alright, so it's mentioned here. So the last sentence of the first point, or even those crowned with flowers by another man. Right, so in those days, no diamond ring, so they just put the flowers on on the head or something, yeah. So if you want to save cost or you want to protect, I'm not sure, have you watched the documentary Blood Diamond, where child labor, African children being abused to dig for diamond, yeah. So you want to save people, then you can use flowers. Okay, all right. Any other questions?
Good evening, Phra Goh.
Yes.
Miri, okay. Good evening, Phra Goh. This is my first time joining. Thanks for having me.
Okay, all right.
May I ask if we can ask non-sutta question?
Okay, sure, yes.
Okay. I've been practicing Buddhism for seriously for more than 5 years, and I have the perception that a layperson job is a job is actually quite meaningless, because at the end of it, we want to get out of suffering. But I'm still working because I want to take care of my mom.
Okay.
So there is a strong aversion towards work. I'm currently very drained because I feel my mental perception is that okay, if I have certain amount of money, then I don't have to work and I can practice long hour. And this thinking, the running away from work, the aversion away from work is causing me a lot of mental suffering. Phra Goh, can I ask your advice on this? Thank you.
Yeah, so this is a very good question, right? So this might be a common kind of either stereotype or kind of misunderstanding, that we believe that, okay, as a layperson, our job is kind of hindrance, and then once we stop this layperson kind of job and become a monastic, then being a monastic, you have no work to do, then it's fully practice. But the truth is, monastics have duties also. Some of them also can be quite close to some of the secular jobs. We need to do cleaning also, so that equivalent to cleaning kind of job. Sometimes we have store IC, somebody need to manage the storeroom. Some of them do administrative work for the monastery. I mean, for monks. Some of them need to do some kind of academic stuff. Maybe probably study scripture or memorize chanting ceremonies and so on. So all this, in a way, is a kind of livelihood. Yeah, if let's say we follow the Vinaya, the monastic rules very well, and we sort of don't make a profit out of it, it is also a kind of livelihood. Yeah, but so if we take this in context and put it in the lay person's life, you also have all these mundane tasks. You need to maintain the house, you need to, just like monastic, need to maintain the monastery. So you need to do certain things, mundane tasks, but the idea is how to change your intention and make it Dhamma. So actually, there are teachings in the suttas that also talk about the Buddha encouraging a person to be, a layperson to be responsible, taking care of the family. That's part of the Mangala Sutta. You need to fulfill your duties and obligation. So all these are part of blessings. So these are important. All right. So if a person does it well, then it won't be like a chore. It won't be like a chore. And like taking care of family members, for monastic side, we also need to take care of monastics. So, junior monks need to take care of the senior monks. As a junior monk training, we also do something like a butler's kind of work. We need to clean their room, wash their robes, prepare their bowl and everything. So something like that. So we need to do all this work also. Yep. Hopefully that clarifies. All right. Anyone else?
Yes, Bhante, I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah. This one is from this sutta, right? It just tells us like, these are the things that we should not do, we shouldn't do unwholesome speech. But what happens if we get it as a receiving end? Let's say somebody, gossip, or perhaps have a suspicious mind and then keep telling us about it. And how can we actually how would I say handle the situation where it comes to us?
Yeah, so in this world is very chaotic, right? Because not everybody practice the Dhamma or want to observe the precepts. So it's very hard. Yeah. So for ourselves, if we really want to sincerely practice, first is if we encounter any misinformation regarding yourself, you have the right to clarify. But the Buddha mentioned, okay, I'm taking this in a different context. So the Buddha actually mentioned in the Digajanu Sutta, if let's say anybody disparages the Dhamma, for example, a person first need to have a calm mind, make sure there's no greed or anger, and respond. This is not the truth, and what the truth actually is. So a person need to clarify. So if any, so taking this into the context of ourselves, for example, if there's any misinformation or some gossip that is not truthful, you hear it or somebody tell you, so you can correct them in a friendly manner. You don't have to get too worked up and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes we try to correct it or to stop the person from saying more, and then it's like you get backfired, especially when you're talking to somebody who is in a higher status.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So that's why you need to speak in season, speak at the right time. So if the person is too emotional, not the right time to clarify, then don't clarify at all. Yeah. Wait for the right time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, no problem. Okay, anyone else?
Hi, Bhante. I have a question about divisive speech. So I understand that lying is kind of like black or as in black and white. There's no like white light. But my question is like for divisive speech, if a friends ask me for advice about whether wanting to like leave her partner that's being kind of like maybe not abusive but bad influence on her. Like this guy gambles and then steals or like speeds, and then she's asking for advice because she's thinking about leaving him. Is it considered like divisive speech if I advise her to stay away from such bad influences? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so this is a very, very good question. Yeah, so this got to do with whether to break up another couple or have them living together, and if they do live together, it may potentially end up harming your friend, right? So you can give like a very general kind of advice, like from, let's say, your own religious training. We believe that we should avoid unwholesome kind of person, stay far from unwholesome person. But if, let's say, you are already kind of too involved or engaged with the other person already, then if possible, try to change, the bad habits of the person. If you can transform a person from a, let's say, a vice, from a selfish person to a generous person, that is a miracle. Right, so that is kind of like third person kind of objective. Try to give an objective kind of opinion. That means not to tell them you should split or you should do this or you should what. Yeah, so it's just like very general advice. Yeah, because ultimately it's their lifestyle. They know their own happiness. You cannot dictate what they should or should not do. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. So I saw your question, so I'll just read it out. Don't you think that this way we may end up suppressing our desires? Yeah, I felt once people have enough self-love, then only one may appreciate the rest. What's your opinion? Yeah, so I think a lot has to do with the usage of language, different kind of expression. Suppression is not really encouraged. It's like if a person do not have proper understanding, it can be any kind of desire. For example, let's say a person is, let's say, addicted to smoking, for example. Right? So we have certain like quit smoking kind of campaign. Then if a person do not have the right resolve or right intention, and their friends or relatives may hide the cigarette pack from them, but then they have the urge, still have the urge to want to smoke. Right? So there is suppressing. So it can be very painful, suppressing any kind of craving. Right? If we do not get to do what we want, it can be very painful, very stressful. So it is only with the right resolve, right intention, you really want to transform, you really want to change, then it's suitable. If a person doesn't want to change for the better, then it's like half-hearted. The rate of success of the transformation would be much lower. Yeah, so you mentioned about self-love. So that's about contentment. So we have practices that develop these wholesome emotions. So instead of clinging on to unwholesome states of mind, we cling on to wholesome states of mind. So for example, like a person, now we talk something more subtle. Generally, we give an example of addiction to cigarette. Now we talk about addiction to negative emotions, for example, like anger. Like some people can get angry the whole day. So emotions are addictive. Yeah, they know that being angry is not good, but they get angry the whole day. They cannot get out of it. Yeah, it is a kind of addiction. right? So there must be a proper resolve and proper technique. There must be a proper kind of reflection to kind of overcome it. So if a person knows how to radiate loving kindness, they have this more wholesome kind of emotion to hold on to, then it will be much better. All right, so hopefully that answers your question. Okay, then the rest, anyone has any issues or questions? Okay, no issues, then we are going to do the last sitting for this Zoom session of the year. And we're going to find a comfortable sitting posture. Make sure your back is upright and the rest of the body relaxed. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to feel the sensations throughout the body, from head to toe. And these sensations, we call this mindfulness of the 4 elements of the body. So the 4 elements are the earth, fire, wind, and water elements. Earth represents any hard or soft sensations. Fire is hot and cold. Wind is fast, slow movements. And water is moist or dry sensations. So the element itself, actually no suffering. So the issue is these sensations come with feeling. Sometimes they're pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, neutral feeling. So this is basically karma. Any pleasant feeling appear, that is good karma's ripening. Any unpleasant feeling appear, painful feeling, tension, aches, all these are bad karmas ripening, dark karmas. So it can be a mixture of both good and bad. So when we cling on to nice sensations, then the mind will develop greed. And if the mind experience unpleasant sensation, if there's no mindfulness, then one will develop anger. So these are the 2 extremes which we are avoiding. So we practice the middle way kind of karma. So what we're going to do is first wish those sensations well and happy. Any sensation appear, any feeling appear, wish it well and happy. There's no need to visualize, no need to imagine anything, no need to control. Do not purposely generate those sensations. Let it appear real time. So this is a real time evidence. Any sensation appear, wish it well and happy. So this evidence, we call this mindfulness of the body. The wishing it well and happy, we call it right thought. And the repetition is called right effort. So these are the 3 main ingredients that we normally emphasize in the routine. New sensation appear, may it be well and happy. New sensation appear, may it be well and happy. So we don't call it self-love. We don't say, I wish myself well and happy. Then we're actually trying to overcome the selfishness or the self. So we're going to wish that sensation well and happy. So we make peace with whatever sensation that's being thrown at us, whatever the universe kind of throw at us, we make peace with them. So never leave the mind idle. Once the mind do nothing only, then I give a metaphor of the crossing to the other shore. So we are like rowing the boat. Every time we row, it's like generating the right thought. Once we stop rowing, we let the mind idle, then the currents and the waves will just drag the boat all over the place and we won't reach our destination. So all the waves are all the karmas. And we can also observe the state of mind. Is it getting calmer or is it getting more agitated? So doing this practice itself, there's already mindfulness of the body, which is the evidence, mindfulness of the feeling, which is the painful, pleasant feelings, and the mindfulness of the mind. Is it settling down or is it getting more agitated? And the in-between readings of this mental behavior, there's called mindfulness of the Dhamma. Actually, it's the Four Noble Truths. When there's craving, then the mind gets agitated. When we reduce craving, and this agitation or distress will settle down. So when we have right thought, we overcome the craving of aversion, then it will reduce the craving to a certain degree. And then you see how far can the mind settle. So it should settle to like a point where it cannot settle any further. So there's like a limit to its settling. And we call this the baseline emotion. So why do I call it baseline emotion? So that is like a neutral, very neutral state, considered part of the sensual world, sensual frame world, not unwholesome, but no jhanas yet, no insight, no vipassana yet. So this is just a neutral baseline emotion. So we take note and we use it as a reference to compare with other states of mind later. So it's important to remember this emotion, baseline emotion. So usually it's very bland, nothing unique. Okay, so now we are going to cultivate this boundless loving kindness. We are going to wish all beings in all directions well and happy, above, below, and all across. So there is no need to push the mind. We let it extend naturally by itself. However far I wish to go doesn't matter. Just a gentle wish, open, relaxed. And importantly, do not visualize. What we are doing in this routine, we are using the non-discriminative approach to perceive all beings as the four elements. So now we detect the elements in the body, right? So now we sort of expand the area of attention. Whatever you may perceive in the area of attention, inside the body or outside the body, whatever sensation you can detect, Then we mentally label, we wish, may all beings be well and happy. So we perceive all beings being made of these four elements. So the reason why we do not think of a specific person or group of race or species is that the mind will associate certain past experiences, past stereotypes, and it will generate a certain emotion to that directed being or beings. So I use the non-discriminative method, the boundless loving-kindness method. Whatever sensation appears, we wish all beings well and happy. So the key emphasis is all beings. So the same ingredient, the labeling, may all beings be well and happy, the evidence, the sensations, and lastly the repetition. No matter what happens, keep on wishing all beings well and happy. Okay, and if all the conditions are right, you have this right thought, right effort, right everything, then one may activate this right concentration. And if, let's say, you experience any increment of joy, happiness, or peace compared to the baseline emotion, then that would indicate the first level of concentration. And regardless of what you experience, keep on wishing all beings well and happy. Treat everything as byproduct. And next we're going to add some insight, some wisdom. And we're going to reflect how to cultivate a more unconditional kind of loving kindness without attachment. So we're going to use the reflection of impermanence to shake off all this attachment. So the same formula, evidence are the sensations, and the labeling this time we change to impermanence. Whatever sensation appear, you can use impermanence, you can use rising, falling, whatever label associated with impermanence. and we keep repeating. So if there's any kind of detachment, that is part of the anti-karma process. One should feel like a sudden surge of joy, that's like a sign of detachment, which lasts for a while. And if, let's say, the joy or happiness start to slowly disappear, doesn't matter, keep on reflecting on impermanence. Even that joy is also impermanent. If the joy and happiness is gone, one may experience this neutral and refreshing kind of experience. We call that equanimity. Normally associated this fourth level of concentration. And regardless of what you experience, keep on reflecting on impermanence. Treat everything else as byproduct. Okay, and before we conclude this session, same gentle reminder from the Karaniya Metta Sutta. As long as we are mindful of this boundless loving kindness in all activities, standing, sitting, walking, or lying down, then this is the noblest living. And with that, we can gently open our eyes, formally end the session informally still can generate right thought. Okay, Anumodana, dedicating merits. Akasata Japumata Devanaga Mahidika Punyang Tang Anumoditva Chirang Rakantu Loka Sasanang Etavata Cha Amhehi Sampadang Punya Sampadang Sabe Deva Sabe Bhuta Sabe Sata Anumodantu Sabha Sampati Siddhya. And dedicating merits to the departed. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. And aspiration. Imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu yavani banapatiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, and we bow to the Buddha 3 times. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. Okay, so the same announcement, we are repeating. This is the last MSBS Zoom session for this year. We are going to start the next year's lesson on the 9th January, same link. Right, Terence? Right, yep, so that's the announcement. So, wish you all a Happy New Year ahead and take care, right? Okay, bye-bye.